Hey everyone, welcome to day 7 of the 2030 project. Our essential questions are: what are the biggest problems faced by people around the world today, and how can I help solve these problems? Thanks for emailing me when you have questions. Thanks for popping into my Google Meets if you have questions. That's the best way to get a hold of me and to make sure that you're on track if you're not sure about something. So please continue to do that. Today, we are moving on to the final piece. I can create a clear presentation to showcase my work on the 2030 project. Now, if we were still in school, you would be delivering a final presentation to your peers and a larger group of people. We would even invite everyone's parents, and you would deliver your project in the auditorium. So that would be kind of a bigger thing than we're able to do in the distance learning setting, but we are still going to do a final presentation, and you need to make sure that you are doing a final presentation so that I can grade it and you can get a grade and we can move on into our summer break. So I'll talk about the order of the presentation in a second, but if you have not yet put your name on the presentation, sign up. You and your group members, if you are working with a group, please find a place to do that. So we've got 4 different dates. They're all in these bottom tabs here, and you can decide when you'd want to do that, whether that's next week or you want to get it done later this week and just have it all done with. That might depend on where you think you are and where your group might be, but there should be plenty of slots for everybody. Please put yourself where you think you need to be, and remember that this is something that I can kind of be sure to check in and see that people are ready to go. And if people aren't on here, I'm going to be assuming you're not ready to go, and I might be reaching out to you. So this is just one thing to say: hey, Mr. Michelson, I'm ready to go. I'm going to see you on this date and this time, and we'll get it done with. So the Google Meet link will also be here at the top. I'm going to put those in there later. And so on the day of your presentation, you can come back to this document. I'll post it again, and you can click that link and get in there at the right time. We have a 10-minute window so that in case we have any technical difficulties, and I can grade and ask questions and all that, and just maybe even talk to you a little bit within that time, and not just have you deliver your presentation. But your presentation should be about 5 minutes long. So just know that that is there. Please do that. Even if you're not done with your presentation or even started with it yet, put your name there so I know when it's going to happen. Okay, let's talk about presentations. And the order of the presentation will be to start with a flashy start or an attention getter. Just like when we wrote essays this year, you had attention getters. Try to think about something that might get your presentation started. Maybe it's a piece of information that you found that you thought was maybe interesting or shocking or surprising. Maybe it's a quote that you found or a quote that you will find. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's something just to get your presentation started. Think about delivering this to an audience and how you have seen speeches go, TED Talks and things like that. You want to get your audience's attention with something. Could be even a picture that's interesting. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. Talk to me if you have questions on that, but let's try to get it started with a bang. And then you'll define your target. So you can also talk about the larger goal, but focus in on what is the target you are really focused on. And then also, why did you choose this? What's your motivation? Why did you and or your group members decide that that was what you wanted to focus your work for this project on? Is there a certain passion? Is there a certain interest? Let us know. Give that personal piece. I think that'll be important for a good presentation. The 4th piece is to use your research to explain the problem. So using all the things that you found, the facts, the figures, statistics, the things that help to prove that there actually is a problem that needs a target to address it. Think about that and get that in there. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. 5 is what you worked on last class, the advocacy plan. What is your plan for meeting the goal, for meeting the target? Will you invent, innovate, campaign? Will you do a combination of some of those, or will you do even more than one? I want to see your ideas. So if you have an invention, what is that going to look like? Follow those questions that I had last class. That might help you think more in detail about that. Same thing for an innovation, for a campaign. What is that campaign going to look like? How much do you anticipate it would cost? You don't need to actually create anything or do anything or get a campaign going. I just want to see your ideas. What do you think would be the best way to make some progress towards this goal? And then a works cited is the last piece. And use what you know about works cited stuff. Try to give credit where credit is due. And that's my next slide here. Use your research, give credit where credit is due. That's the works cited, where you can tell me what articles you found, tell me the research that you were able to take from, and just know that you found it somewhere else and I can see that too. Any images that you include or any components that are multimedia stuff, videos, things like that, should either be created by you. So maybe you're taking your own pictures, you're doing your own drawings. Those are authentic pieces that you've created, or they should be properly attributed. So if you did find stuff online, images like that, tell me what the website was, tell me the link to where you found it. That way we know that you're again giving credit where credit is due, and you're not using someone's picture or video or what else that without their, well, you won't have their permission, but you will just kind of say, here's where I found it, so that we know that you didn't create it. Okay, that should hopefully be clear. The presentation design is also on the rubric. I've been kind of taking pieces of this rubric here and there throughout these last few days. To meet in the meet column, you want to effectively use digital tools and/or visual displays to present your plan for research and an advocacy plan. All images and multimedia components are authentic or properly attributed. That's what I'm looking for you to meet this. So for the first piece, I'm imagining Google Slides is going to be the best piece for people to do that on. If you have other options or other ideas, maybe you did something earlier this year, did a different program that you thought was really cool, go ahead and use that if you think that's going to work. That's really on you. I would love to tell you more about different things you could include and different ways you could make your presentation even better. But I don't think in this distance learning setting that's going to be easy for us to really accomplish. If you can add really unique things or impressive things to it, that would be cool. But in order to meet, you just need to make sure that it is in something like a Google Slides. So hopefully that makes sense too. Let me know if you have questions on that. Your work time for today, again, go to that presentation sign up if you haven't yet. Double check that you're on there if you need to. And then I have some other tips for you. I'm going to do one more screencast that will talk about pro tips. And then there's a video that's all about presentation tips. Think about that order of presentation that I went through, and that's what you'll be working on. The video that I'd like you to watch is posted. It says 4 scientific reasons why your PowerPoint presentation is bad. Some different tips for you to make it look better, to make you have an effective presentation. Basically, it's about having more visuals and less text. Remember that you are going to be presenting things to me. So every word that you want to get across in your presentation does not have to be on your slides, does not have to be on the screen. You can have a script, you can do it however you want, but less text is usually more effective in a presentation than having a lot of text and having every word that you say. So this video is a little bit more background on that. You might get some ideas there. And then I'm going to go through another screencast about pro tips. You can read this document or you can watch me walk you through it in a screencast. This will take some of those presentations from being good to great. And it also has the linked project overview and rubric on here again if you want to check those things out. So I'm going to just stop this screencast. I'll have another one about this document. Again, reach out if you have questions, and we will see you when it's your final presentation time. Have a good one, folks. Thanks for your hard work.